Hi, my name is Shannon and I watch a lot of movies. And in this video, I watched 31 movies in 45 days. I know I kind of clickbaited the title on that a little bit, but just bear with me. These 31 movies were watched for the annual Letterboxd Challenge Hooptober, created by Letterboxd user Cinemonster and named after the influential horror director Tobe Hooper, who you might know from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which did have a milestone birthday this year. I will link below both my list for this video so you can follow along if you'd like, and also Cinemonster's list, which has all the prompts and all their past lists and a bunch of other people's lists too, so a lot of information on the challenge there. The way this challenge works is Cinemonster will post a list of prompts, this including decades, countries, certain directors, and various criteria for movies that you have to make your list and then watch in the allotted time. This is my 4th year doing Hooptober and the first year that I ever completed it. Thanks to this video, most likely, to be completely honest. And in this video, I'm just going to be watching these movies and telling you about them. I watched a lot of really cool movies this year, along with the movies that I've watched for previous years that have become some of my all-time favorites. One in the background right here. This challenge, as long as I've known about it, has been special to me because it always provides me some new favorite films, and it challenges me to expand my horizons in the films that I typically watch on a day-to-day basis. This is the first video I'm posting on this channel, so please be nice. Trying my best. But yeah, if you like it, please stick around because I'm planning on doing more videos like this, and then also analysis, talking videos about film if I can. So yeah, thank you guys. Enjoy. It is September 16th, so I'm kicking off my first Hooptober watch of the season, and I've made a little spinny wheel. I've been doing a lot of my watches just based on vibes, like generally, but I fear with a Hooptober list I cannot start with vibes because it'll leave a bunch of things toward the end that I will be less inclined to pick. There are a couple of things on this list that I'm intimidated to watch, and I'll explain them when I get there, but hopefully the spinning wheel will give me, I have to watch whatever I land on, so if it lands on something that I'm intimidated by, we'll get that out of the way. So let's get to that. As I said before, my list is on Letterboxd's link below, and let's see what the first one is going to be. I've landed on The Vanishing. This is one of my 8 films from my watch list that I have to watch for this list, so I'm very excited about it. And this is actually one of the films that I was most interested in watching when I put it on the list, so yay. This movie, The Vanishing, is from 1988, and it is satisfying the criteria of being based on a novel. This film is based on a novel called The Golden Egg, which I don't know, I'm not familiar with that. Because I'm starting with this adapted from a novel criteria, I do want to mention the prompt required there to be 4 films that are adapted from a novel, and I made it a personal goal for myself to only include 1 Stephen King adaptation for this prompt. There are more than 1 Stephen King adaptations on the list, but I told myself I could only put 1 Stephen King adapted film on the list. That's just to keep things, new and interesting. Let's give this one a watch, and I will let you guys know what I think when I'm done with it. I actually am on my way to see a different movie right now, but I did just finish The Vanishing, so I want to talk about it a little bit. I really liked this one, and I tend to really like Dutch horror. I think that Dutch filmmakers have a particular edge to horror that a lot of other people, and especially American filmmakers, don't have. And this perfectly had it in the way that I wanted, in the way that made this film so satisfying to watch. I really, really enjoyed this. What I really, really liked about this film is how seamlessly and confidently it switches between timelines. Because there is one linear timeline, but it switches back and forth between like flashbacks for, more info on the perpetrator, and then also, eventually coming all the way back to a play-by-play of how Saskia got abducted. So it's very satisfying because it is so confident and so seamless. It doesn't feel the need to, tell you beforehand that it's going back in time. You can just tell based on, watching the movie. and I very much like that. There's a very, very minimal score in this movie, but I really liked it. It is this kind of like synthy and piano sound that very like briefly, very fleetingly comes in and like sets a tone for a scene, and it's really nice. I'd say this film is very like curiosity killed the cat. Like how far does curiosity go? That's kind of like a ringing theme throughout this. Check this one out. I really liked it a lot, and I haven't heard that many people say things about it, so I would say Hooptober is off to a great start. Hey guys, the next movie that I'm seeing is one of the 3 films from this list that I'm able to see in theaters, which is just awesome, you know, great thing. And I am here at Greenlight Cinema in St. Pete, Florida to see Magic. This is a film that I added to my list kind of late, and it just so happens that this film is being shown here today, so I'm really happy that I get to see it in theaters and that I get to attend another screening from Second Screen Cult Cinema. I've been to another one of their screenings and I had a blast, so I'm very excited to be here today, and I'm excited to see this film. This movie is another one that satisfies the films that are adapted from a novel. It's just a coincidence that those are the first 2 films on this list, but I'm excited nonetheless, and I will talk about this afterwards, but I have to go in right now, so I'll see you after the movie.
But it's not that. It's more of a Hitchcockian, specifically Psycho, obviously, because what got me when I first watched this, so I don't know if this was re-released.
I like don't know how I feel about vlogging while I walk. I feel like a weirdo kind of talking to myself right now. Very cool movie, very Psycho adjacent, Hitchcockian sort of thing. It's very interesting the way that this film plays out, and kind of how it keeps the audience reeled into the idea that that the dummy is not alive, but just an extension of himself and the evil version of himself, I guess. It's very cool because it ends up being very satisfying and very like, I'm out of breath. Psycho's been done over and over and over again, but I think it's hard to say I'll never get sick of it, because at a point I am kind of sick of it. I had a really great time watching this film, and just have to shout out to Second Screen Cult Cinema for screening this at Greenlight tonight. It is always a privilege to be able to see films like this screened in theaters, and I always enjoy my time seeing a film at Greenlight, and this is my second time seeing a film screened by Second Screen Cult Cinema, and I always have fun with them too, so shout out. Support your local cinemas, always get concessions, and I'll see you guys for the next movie that I have to watch. This year, one of the prompts was to include 5 zombie movies, which is really exciting because I love zombie movies. Fortunately, last year, well, unfortunately for this year, but last year I watched the best zombie movie, in my opinion, Brain Dead from 1992. You can't see me at all because the movie already started. Me and Hunter are watching #Alive, which is a Korean zombie movie. And yeah, I'll let you know what I think of it after we're done watching the movie. We can both put our opinions in. So this is a South Korean zombie movie that came out in 2020, and it's about a guy who escapes the zombie apocalypse by staying in his apartment the whole time, which is crazy because that's exactly what happened in 2020, except there wasn't any zombies. So I was like, damn, this is a very like topical movie for the time. It wasn't made for that purpose, which I think is interesting. You want to go first?
I think I was.
You can hold it.
I felt like a zombie in 2020, so I don't know.
So how are you holding it like an old man?
I'm not holding up. She's always saying this. No, honestly, I really thought the movie was great because it's this guy. He's like always on his phone. He's playing video games all the time, and then like the world kind of like smacks him with this like situation. It just gets so bad to the point where, you know, he finds like the will to like fight, and then like that's kind of his turning point. And he finds a girl, and it's like he found a reason to fight for, you know.
The setting I think is very scary. The way that they set up this apartment complex was nice. It was very contained apartment complex. Okay, on to the next one. I have a little bit of time for work today, so I want to, you know, knock something off the list. I'm in the mood to watch something a little bit more modern. I think I'm gonna watch Pandorum from 2009. This is a post-apocalyptic film. I think it's a sci-fi, so that is why I'm gonna watch that. The post-apocalyptic prompt was kind of hard for me to fill, to be completely honest, mostly because when I was searching for post-apocalyptic films, I feel like I was just finding a lot of zombies, and I was like, well, that's a completely different thing. So, and also zombies was like part of the prompt for this list anyway. Like, I needed to include 5 zombie films and then some, I think 3 post-apocalyptic films, so I was just like having trouble differentiating something that's post-apocalyptic and zombies. I'll get back to you with my opinions on Pandora. Okay, I'm about to go to work, but let me explain my opinions on this. I did not like this movie very much, and there's a couple of reasons I think that I really want to make key points of right now. What I think this movie suffers from problem-wise at the beginning is that the main character, there's these 2 men are the main characters, but the one that we follow for the most part is so irritating. I don't think that any of the other characters that we meet are written any differently than him. So we end up with characters that are introduced that are supposed to be certain types of people and play certain roles in the story, but they barely do, and instead we just end up with a bunch of characters who are the same exact person and occupy the same exact space in the story. That's really irritating, and especially when I did not like this character who doesn't know anything, but is overly confident about every situation that he's in, and tries to take authority when he clearly is the one who knows the least in majority of the situations that he's in. Just find that horribly annoying. Another thing I didn't like about this is that it is very reminiscent of Alien. There are shots and sequences in this that are really reminiscent of Alien 1, or just Aliens, and maybe something from another sequel movie. And it's like cheap and boring and doesn't work very well. The monsters in this movie are like so not relevant, which is weird because the entire plot, because the entire story focuses on the characters running away from the monsters while they're trying to solve the issue of where they're going and how to get there. Why is it so important? Like, why do they need to be chased by monsters? I feel like that just threw a wrench in everything and made it for the characters to have just nothing. They're just nothing people, and because they're being chased by monsters, we don't get to see who these people are. Except they try to give you something about the main character, but like, I just didn't give a fuck. I just didn't care, and that sucks. And yeah, I didn't like this movie, and I just not enjoyable. Can't say that I would recommend this to anyone. Okay, another intro to me lazily watching a movie before work again. Today I'm gonna watch The Invitation from 2015. This is a cult or conspiracy film, and that's why I put it on the list. The reason I'm watching this right now is because I'm looking for something that's not requiring too much of me, but also because I am not very interested in this film, and I want to get it out of the way before I really get down to like needing to watch a movie every day to complete this challenge. So hopefully it's better than the movie that I watched yesterday, and we can move on with watching some better movies for this list, because I think majority of the rest of what I have on here is things that I'm going to enjoy, but of course I'll keep an open mind, so I'll let you know what I think about this one. I think that this film was generally exactly what I was looking for, in the sense that it is extremely easy to digest, and almost too easy to digest and too easy to watch. It's because this movie is so basic and so predictable, which is fine for the most part, but it is really simple in its exploration of its ideas, and also the whole cult concept. As soon as things start getting weird, you know exactly what is going to happen and exactly the way that this is all going to play out. But I can't complain all that much. I do think it was perfectly fine and kept my attention. Very much prefer this to the movie I watched yesterday. I had a pretty good time with this one. I think it's pretty good. I'm rating it 3 stars, and I will see you all for the next movie. Let's go. I was gonna spin the wheel again for the next movie, but I decided I was just gonna go by vibes. And the vibe that I landed on, the movie that I decided to watch, is The Stepford Wives from 1975. This film satisfies the criteria of being a cult or conspiracy film, which I believe there's 3 that were required of me on the list, so yay. And another interesting piece of information about Stepford Wives is that this is the oldest movie on my watch list. It's been on my watch list for over 5 years now, and I'm finally going to finish watching it because I have started watching it I think 3 times over the 5 years it's been on my watch list. I've started this film I think 3 times and not ever finished it, so I don't think I ever got more than halfway through. So today I'm finishing this movie and it's gonna be off my watch list and out of my hands, so I'll let you know what I think when I'm done. It's been literally 10 days since I filmed this clip, and I actually filmed another clip of me saying that I was gonna finish this movie like 5 days ago, and I didn't. So I'm in lab right now, and I have to set up 8 reactions, so I'm gonna keep watching this movie while I'm setting up my reactions. I don't really like to watch movies while I'm doing other things, but it's kind of haunting me that this movie has taken me 5 years and now 10 extra days to finish, when it's not a very long movie and it's very not complicated to watch, so I don't know why I am struggling with this so much. Hopefully watching it while I'm doing something else keeps me from wanting to turn it off or something. I don't know, I fall asleep, like clearly has been happening every time. So I'm gonna watch this in lab and hopefully I finish it in the time that it takes me to set these up. And then I can tell you how I feel about it. I just breathed a genuine sigh of relief when the credits began to roll on the Stepford Wives. I filmed that clip that you just watched probably 5 hours ago, I think. And I had some things to do, of course, so, you know, I didn't end up watching it in my research lab. I fell asleep again. Fell asleep with 30 minutes left. Just now, sat down again, finished the movie. Kinda got a little sleepy, and I bought a Red Bull in between that. I don't think this film is bad, but I don't think that I like it. This film has been on my watch list for literally ages, and I have come to try to watch it multiple times, and I almost quit. If I didn't put this on my Hooptober list and I just picked this up again and fell asleep like I did, I might have not picked this up for another few years. I know that there is a remake of this movie, and I might give that a shot as well another time, because I do really enjoy it. I like the concept of this, and I think that it's well done in this. I think this film is well done, and Catherine Ross's hair in this, she is so beautiful, and her hair is gorgeous. And I'm literally thinking that my hair right now is way too long, but watching this film, I was like, oh damn, I could have hair like that. I'm rating this 2.5. And let's move on to more things, better things. I just got home from the movie theater, and I'm going to go back to the movie theater later to see another film on my list. I'm gonna put on Misery. This film is part of my adapted from a novel prompt, and it's the only Stephen King adapted film that I allowed myself to put on this list. I think it's the best one to choose. It's a film that's been on my radar forever and just never watched it, so I'm gonna watch it now and let you guys know how I feel about it. Probably on the way to the movies to see Nightmare on Elm Street tonight, so let's movie max up. I just finished Misery, and I'm on my way to see my next film on the list. I really liked this movie. I think this is so good and super bare bones, but in like the best way possible. I think the 90s has some real charm to it, and 90s Stephen King adaptations seem to be like where it's at in terms of people adapting his stuff, and I think this is just great. It's super eerie, super creepy, and killer Kathy Bates performance. I was really, really impressed with this, and I think I'll definitely revisit this. It's probably one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations that I've seen. I'm just like very pleased with how simplistic it is, but how much that works in its favor. I'm on my way to see Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, the original one. I put this on my list a few years ago. At that time, I put it on my list because I had just purchased a box set of all the whole series. That was like 2 years ago, and I still haven't watched it, and it's sat on my shelf. So I put it on my list this year saying I'm just gonna pop that in the DVD player and watch the movie. But then it's screening in theaters, and I'm like, well, that's better. So now I'm on my way to see it on the big screen, and I'm really excited because I've never seen it, and it's embarrassing that I haven't seen it and consider myself a horror fan. But also it's really cool that I'm able to see a film like this for the first time in theaters, so I'm really excited. Hopefully I like it. That's 3 movies down today because I saw a movie before I saw Misery just now. Movie maxing October, guys. Movie maxing October. Sitting down to film a video about why I loved A Nightmare on Elm Street feels a little bit silly. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be the person to tell you that A Nightmare on Elm Street is a great movie. But it's a great movie, and I loved it. And it makes me sad that this film has been sitting on my shelf for so long, and I have, you know, not chosen to watch it sooner because this is just so incredibly up my alley and, like, just so much fun. I'm so pleased that I got to see this in theaters for my first time because I just had a blast. I thought this was such a good movie. I understand why this is a classic and why people continue to speak highly of it. I forgot to mention in my last clip why this is on the list. One of the prompts in Hooptober this year was a film that includes There's About Dreams, and if that wasn't Cinemonster just straight up saying watch A Nightmare on Elm Street if you haven't seen it, like, what else is? Alright, we are supposed to be movie maxing in October, and I haven't been, but that's because I've been working. And me and Hunter are watching Silent Hill tonight. I don't know what the point of these pre-movie little clips are. Like, I could just start talking about the movie, I guess. As you might be able to tell, it's many days later. I think, wishing that I gave this more attention, but it's cool. I do really like the visuals. This came out in 2006 and everything looks pretty cool, like pretty good. Pretty fun monster designs, an interesting concept that I think works well. This movie is like kind of long though. I don't not like this, I just don't think I'm like really that interested in it. I wish I was, because it's like the monsters and the design of this is really, like, I think up my alley. Would you agree?
Yeah.
But I just don't find myself all that interested in this, and I don't know if that's like the way that I watched this, how we started watching it on my laptop. We like took a week in between watching this. Do you have any words?
How did they
Don't spoil the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it. How? Your question is how?
Yeah.
I don't know, I need some Silent Hill heads to sign off for me. Okay, I'm at my parents' house, so I'm at a different setting. Not that that matters, but I'm laying down in a different bed to watch a movie. I'm gonna watch Eve's Bayou right now. This film is something that's been on my radar for a while and not something that I've necessarily wanted to watch. One of the prompts this year was a film with a black actor and black director, I believe. And I thought this was a good opportunity to watch this. It is one of those movies that is always properly stated as a good black horror movie, good black historical horror movie as well. And I'll be back to you when I'm done with that, and hopefully I like it. The credits are rolling on Eve's Bayou, and while the jury is still out on whether or not this is actually a horror movie, I really enjoyed it. It's not a horror movie. This movie is not scary, nor does it have a lot of horror elements in it. It's plainly just drama, but it's very, very good. And I don't really know why this movie is, like, people mistake it for a horror. I see that happen a lot. Like, why I added it to my Hooptober list. It's been on a lot of people's Hooptober lists. I think it's really, really great nonetheless. The inciting incident in this film, though, occurs very, very late into the film, and you spend so much time just getting to know these women and understanding who they are as characters and how they function in the family, and I really love that. And it feels very, like, well put together and something that kept me invested. It did scratch a particular itch for me for like this kind of dramatic 90s family film kind of. It reminds me of something very literary, melodramatic, not a horror, but I'm gonna recommend it for anyone anyway because I really liked it. Next entry, I'm gonna watch something a little bit shorter. The movie I picked for right now is going to be We Might Hurt Each Other from 2022. This film is from Lithuania. One of the prompts was a film from a former Soviet country. This film was on Tubi, and it's 85 minutes long from 2022, so very recent. It only has 2,700 watches on Letterboxd. Hopefully it's good, and hopefully I have some good things to say. I did not like that one, unfortunately. I thought that I was going to like it when it started, but then I just felt like I wasn't ever sure what this film was or what it was trying to do, which made it a complicated viewing experience, that's for sure. I thought that this was a folk horror for the first like half of the movie, and then it was not a folk horror, or kind of was, but not really. And I'm not saying that films can't bend genres or, do other things than what's required of a specific genre, but this kind of just went in a very boring direction, and I'm disappointed in that. Though, based on the way that the third act went, it is kind of funny for me to call the way that this film went boring. So I'm not the biggest fan of this film. It didn't really work for me, but it's certainly not bad. It's done, I mean, maybe it's a little bad. I don't know. It seems like it's gonna be interesting, and then it's not. Good morning. I didn't watch another film yesterday, but this morning I had already planned to watch one, so I was like, it's fine. But this morning I'm gonna watch A Bay of Blood by Mario Bava from 1971. And I'm really excited to watch this. This is a watch list film for me, but also this is a blind spot that I've had for a while as I, go through my journey watching more giallo films. It's a super classic slasher, and it's considered one of the inspirations for the American slasher movement that we saw in the 70s and 80s. I just got my hair done, but I realized I forgot to talk about Bay of Blood, so I have new hair, which you might have already seen. This is the second Mario Bava film that I've ever seen. There's a reason why he's such a renowned filmmaker and why people have so much respect for him. There's so many films that were clearly inspired by this movie that it was very cool to watch and see, like, oh, this is like directly pulled from this sequence in Bay of Blood. The film has its slasher first half and it's very like giallo mystery second half, which I loved. The second half of this film I think is so fun and just like goofy and really entertaining, but the slasher part of it I think is a little bit lacking compared to what I thought that I was gonna see. Like, I thought there was gonna be a lot more fun parts. Like, it's fun, but I thought the slasher part of it was gonna be more fun than it was. Yeah, very cool film to watch. Pleased with it. I think I'm watching another film tonight with my mom, so I will let you know, and that'll be the next clip, if that's the case. One of the movies on the list this year is The Wizard of Oz. I don't know why, but this isn't a horror movie, so I'm not sure why it's on the list, but it's the only movie that I can watch with my mom, because my mom does not like horror movies. So I convinced her that we should watch The Wizard of Oz tonight for my Hooptober list, so I can be movie maxing. So, I'm gonna do that. To record my opinions about The Wizard of Oz again. I'm struggling between, is this a controversial opinion to have, or are people okay with people not loving The Wizard of Oz? Because I think I didn't love it, and I'm not even sure that I really liked it. I've seen this movie before. This is not the first time I've seen this movie. But I think that at the times previously that I had watched this, I had very little knowledge of film, musicals, stuff like that. And now, that's like my whole thing. I feel like this film is great for everything that it is, and I can't really say that I wish it was any different. I just think that we've come a long way from The Wizard of Oz, and I think that's a good thing. I think that the things about this that I really liked, like the Technicolor visuals and the whole design of Oz itself, is really nice and beautiful and, works really well in this movie. But I also don't think that it's specific to this movie, the feeling that that gave me. And paired with music that I wasn't really all that keen on, I just feel like this movie wasn't what I expected it to be like. And it kind of just made me think that if I really wanted to just watch a movie that has beautiful Technicolor visuals and lovely music, I should just watch Singin' in the Rain. So, I guess that's how I feel. Sorry. The next movie that we're gonna watch is Dead Snow, which is a Norwegian movie about zombie Nazis. So, one of the prompts was 5 zombie movies, and funnily enough, this movie is not included in that. This is an extra 6th zombie movie that I put on my list because at the end I had a couple of random I had a couple of empty countries I needed to put in, but I also put it on my list because Hunter really likes history, and I thought he would find it interesting that we're watching a movie about zombie Nazis. So he's laughing like he didn't say the same exact thing before I started recording this clip. So we're gonna watch this, and then we'll let you know what we think of it. I like this a lot more than I thought that I would, to be honest. I thought it was gonna be kind of lame, but I actually thought this was great.
I think it was just goofy in the best way.
Yeah, it was very goofy.
I got some laughs out of it.
But also very, entertaining. Even though it's pretty repetitive, I think it was pretty entertaining. Like, I was thoroughly entertained. And it's a lot of fun. Pretty funny. Practical effects look pretty good. The brain dead references are on point. I think this is a good one. I think if you're into zombies and you haven't seen this yet, watch this.
Alright, fair.
We've been watching a lot of zombie movies, and there's 4 more on the list.
That's a lot. You gotta finish them.
Yeah. If I'm completely honest, this year's Hooptober kind of feels like a big laundry list of things that I should have watched for a long time, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it does mean that I kind of feel like I'm doing chores a little bit. This is one of those. The next film I'm gonna watch is I Walked with a Zombie. This is another of the 5 zombie movies that I need to watch, one that I actually put on the list for the 5 zombie movies. And the reason I put this on the list is because I have this one on Criterion Disc. This was a gift from my friend Nadia, so thank you, Nadia. Hopefully this is good, so I will report back when I'm done watching this. I quite like this a lot. I think that it's the shortest film, I think, on the list. It's only 69 minutes. But the pacing and the delivery of everything is very slow. There's very slow conversations being had. There's very slow developments. Though I think there are more time jumps in the actual narrative than we are, actually led to believe. I'm not, in love with this movie. One of the main problems I have with this is that I, for some reason, kept confusing the brothers. I could not only visually couldn't tell them apart very well, but I also was just having trouble remembering, which one Jessica is whose wife and which one does Betsy like. This family is a very manipulative group of people, I think, in terms of, how they treat Betsy and how they talk about people on the outside of their little family and fort. Which I think is funny, but also not funny, because I do really want to like Betsy. But girl, stop letting yourself be manipulated by these people. It's funny that this movie actually uses the word zombie in its dialogue. I feel like zombie movies, for some reason, they all take place in a universe where nobody's ever heard of a zombie, and the concept is completely novel.
And this movie is from 1943, and they're just saying that she's a zombie the entire time, which I loved. I was like, please, thank you for not ignoring that we culturally know what a zombie is. The idea of zombies has been present since like for forever, so I like that. I think that's good that they acknowledge that they know what zombies are. Okay, I just filmed all of that, went to go put my review on Letterboxd and realized that this film is directed by the same person who directed Cat People from 1942, which is a very, very great movie that I love super much. I deeply love that movie, and I wanted to make some comparisons to how I thought these were two a little bit similar in their presentation of horror aspects in the 40s, but I was like, oh no, it's just because I haven't seen any movies from the 40s, so obviously I'm going to compare the other 40s movie I've seen. But no, they are actually directed by the same person, so they are similar. I love Cat People, and I would recommend it over this movie, but this is still good, so. I'm back in my research lab, and I'm gonna watch another movie in here. Like I said, I don't like doing this, but I feel like I'm on a time crunch. Even though I'm not, it's only October 12th. The movie I'm gonna watch right now is A Cure for Wellness, and this is a cult or conspiracy film, which is why I put it on the list. This movie is rated pretty low, but it's always something I've been a bit intrigued by. Possibly because of the Mia Goth of it all, but also because this is a really odd entry for Gore Verbinski's filmography, and hopefully I can stay attentive and locked in while I am setting up my reactions in lab right now. Cool. I just finished A Cure for Wellness, and while I should give a sentence to explain what this movie is about, I feel like that's kind of my problem is I don't really know what this film is about. This movie is 2.5 hours long, which is why I wanted to watch it today, because it is one of the longest movies I have on the list. And it definitely feels that runtime. And I don't think 2.5 hours is an extremely long time for a movie. One of the most irritating things about this is how the main character that we follow the entire time. He is so irritating and so stupid, but he's also like really cocky. It takes him a really, really long time to find out in the movie that he has been admitted to the sanatorium as a patient, even though multiple characters have called him a patient to his face, and he says, I'm not a patient. But then, like, more than halfway through the movie, it dawns on him that, oh my god, I am a patient. Dude, you couldn't have come to that conclusion sooner. Also, what is actually, like, going on at the sanatorium is really confusing. Like it seems like there's some kind of mind control going on, but our main character is never, like, entirely susceptible to it, but he kind of is toward the end, but then he's not, because he jumps out of it and then starts to try to escape. It's like, what is going on here? Like, what is really happening? Because I see visually what you were showing me is going on, and I can't really put together what that means for the people in the movie. You know what I mean? Everything that is supposed to be a reveal in this movie is, like, pretty easy to figure out yourself if you're at least paying a little bit of attention. I think it really comes down to the big reveal at the end. It's supposed to be the most, like, scary thing that happens at the end of this, and I'm not saying that it's not, because it definitely is, but my question is, why? I feel like the pitch for this movie is like, wouldn't it be crazy and, like, so totally weird and fucked up if this was what was actually going on? I guess. Sure. I don't know. Like, I don't really know what the point of any of this was. I have been working a lot lately, and I'm wearing my uniform, which is why I'm covering it up. Because I'm working again today. But that means I need to watch more movies other times. So I'm gonna watch another movie in my research lab. And the movie that I'm gonna watch today is Wolfman from 1941. The prompt here was the most popular movie from the 1940s that I hadn't seen. And wouldn't you know, the most popular movie from the 1940s I hadn't seen was literally the most popular one. I think that's it. Okay, bye. It is quite a few days later. I'm not even sure when I originally filmed that clip, but I just watched the Wolfman now. Sorry I've been lying to you in my initial clips. I'm conflicted about this film because I don't really think that it was boring, but I just was not interested in it. I find that werewolves are particularly uninteresting to me, and this movie did not pique my interest very much, but I'll say that what was visually presented to me and what actually goes on in the film isn't necessarily boring. I think my problem with this for the most part is that I didn't connect with our lead character, the werewolf character Larry. It feels like the film tries to dump some sort of diagnosis about his character onto him because of the werewolf-isms of it, but I never really felt like we understood that about him as a character. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that. Well, it just... Good afternoon. I'm chilling in bed to watch another movie right now, and I think I am in the mood to watch a giallo film. Something Italian, something a little, So the last giallo film that I have on this list is The Case of the Bloody Iris. And this film's on this list because it's something that's been on my radar for a minute that I wanted to check out. And also, it was written by Ernesto Gastaldi, which is the prompt for this. Ernesto Gastaldi has done a lot of work for some extremely influential directors in the giallo filmmaking movement. People like Sergio Martino, Mario Bava, Umberto Lenzi. So I haven't seen any of his films that he's worked on, but this will be my first one. And this has been something that's been on my Shudder watch list for a while, so I'm going to watch it. Okay, it's also been a couple of days since I filmed that last clip, but I just watched this movie, and I really enjoyed this. I am kind of just inching my way into more giallo films and Italian horror in general, and this is probably one of the ones that I liked the most so far, the ones that I've seen. I thought this was really consistently engaging, and kind of had a really good mix between things that were genuinely thrilling and interesting to see, and also a good amount of humor and mystery to it. The police commissioner character in this movie is so bizarre, and most of the little humor bits come from the interactions between the police commissioner and other people in the police force. But this police commissioner is just a really goofy character in kind of a bad way. Not like written poorly, but in like if I knew this guy in real life, I would want to punch him in the face for sure. I really enjoyed a lot of these characters and watching them on screen, and I don't think that I have watched many giallo films previously that I felt were super good at writing their characters and put some sort of work into making their characters interesting. But I'm gonna keep my eye out for Ernesto Gastaldi written films because I really liked the way this was written. I thought it was really nice. I also just want to mention I did have to watch this with the English dub, so that sucks, and I really wish it wasn't the case, because of course I want to watch the original audio, but yeah, so that's fine. I mean, it's whatever, but it's really not possible to be watching Italian horror if you're not willing to watch a couple of English dubs, and I watched Bay of Blood in English dub as well, so, it is what it is, really, but yeah, I really like this one, and this is a win for me. The next movie on the list is also something that is going to be like a laundry list completion. It's Night of the Living Dead, which I have this beautiful Criterion copy I've owned for a really long time and haven't watched. And it's also just like embarrassing that I haven't seen this movie ever. Like, it's like the OG like zombie movie that like started the modern zombie movie craze. So we're going back to the basics and we're gonna watch this, and it is also, the prompt for this was also one of the zombie movies. I think I have one more zombie movie on the list I haven't watched. It's this one, and then I think I have Messiah of Evil, it's the last one. So let's watch this, and hopefully it lives up to the hype, because I feel like there's a lot of hype around this movie.
This movie is so cool, and I can't believe it's taken me so long to see this, because I do think it's like really embarrassing. This movie, kick-started the modern zombie genre, and any zombie movie essentially after this point kind of follows the same aspects that this one does. I was kind of worried about that because I was like, well, I've seen this before many a time in other ways, but it's so different and so original still. It's beautifully shot in black and white, and it is the sound design I think is really awesome too, because there's like a couple moments that I was just like, wow, like that's the sound makes it really scary, and honestly like just changes the atmosphere of the scene. And god, that ending, I was just wow, so good. So
Okay, I was about to go to bed, but I think I'm gonna watch a movie instead. I was scrolling through available movies to watch and then just felt like a deep guilt in my chest that I wasn't gonna be watching one of my remaining, I don't know, 12 Hooptober movies that I need to watch. So I'm gonna watch Phase 4 tonight. This is a film from my watch list, and it is, the prompt for this is "The animals are pissed at us." Seems like a kind of goofy premise that I'm interested to see how they will present it. So I'm gonna watch this right now, and then I will. You know what I'm doing. Like, that's the point of the video. I don't need to tell you that I'm gonna report back. Let's see the fucking point. Phase 4 is a film I have conflicted feelings on because, firstly, because it has all the pieces of a film that I should really love, and there's a lot about it that I really love, but I also just don't love it, which sucks to say. Because when I started watching this last night, when that clip you saw just now, I was like, this is really cool and creatively done in a way that I haven't seen before. I hope that I really love this. And then the movie kept going, and I wasn't liking it. Most of the film, I'd say about a good half of the film, is footage of ants, which is very cool, and I can't lie, had me. Like, that's what was most interesting, is like the footage, the spliced footage of ants, the way that the ants were included in the scenes, but you wouldn't see everything. It would just be the ant, or it would be the human. So I've never seen something like this, and I think it's really cool. I'm also just gonna say that there's like a little bit of footage of ants dying. I'm not saying that ants are like on the same level as humans or something. You have like footage of ants that looks like real footage to me. It's very well done, so I'm assuming these are real ants. And then just a bunch of footage of ants dying. It's kind of like, damn. I don't know, it just like kind of sad. Also, obviously a film like this is not just a weird movie about ants, but it's also like a social commentary. That's one of the interesting parts of this, and one of the things that I liked about it, but I don't think that it actually did enough to keep me interested in it up until like the end. Like the end scene when it all comes together, it's very fulfilling, but you have to get through almost 90 minutes of very, very boring movie to get there. Despite my like slightly negative review, I do recommend this because it's very, very cool. Unlike anything I've ever seen before. The idea of killer ants, if that's cool to you, I don't know, like, I recommend it. It's a very cool sci-fi horror movie, quite underrated, and very beautifully done, even though it's kind of boring. So. The date is October 27th, and I recently just looked at the calendar to see that date and was like, oh my god, that's 4 days of the month left. And I still have 11 movies to watch. So my plan is to try and speedrun these 11 movies. The problem is I don't have 4 free days. I actually have maybe 2 free days of my 4. Yeah, and I do still have a 3-hour movie on this list, so that's... Okay, the movie that I'm going to watch today is Black Moon from 1975. This is a post-apocalyptic film. This is one of the few movies on this list that I had never ever heard of before I put it on this. I found it while I was looking for a post-apocalyptic film. And, it just seemed like
something that would fit the criteria. So anyway, I'm gonna watch this one. I have just been watching Black Moon. My power is out at the moment, so I have been using my hotspot to watch this. And my hotspot just like ran out of high-speed data. So I have 10 minutes left of this movie, and I'm just gonna call it here because I really don't like this film and have kind of stopped paying attention for the last like 20 minutes anyway. This is not a film that I like enjoyed at all. Like I just do not see the appeal of something like this. It is completely nonsensical and just a bunch of very, very boring weirdness. Now, I do know that another film that I put on this list that I haven't watched yet is similar to this. However, that movie is only 70 minutes long, and this is 100 minutes. So hopefully I feel a little bit better about that one, because this movie was just really not my thing. If people are out there that like this, if people are out there that like this weird, surreal nonsense that just absolutely goes nowhere, there, you know what, I hope you are happy, and I hope that you like this film, because I just really don't. That's not enjoyable. Well, anyways, I'm gonna go to lab right now and then watch another movie there, because I'm speed running. My speed running is going horribly. Anyway, I'm in lab today, and I'm gonna watch Messiah of Evil, which is one of my remaining zombie movies to watch. This is one that I've been really interested to watch, but I've kind of put off because I wanted to get through some of the other things I wasn't as interested in. Unfortunately, I think one of the reasons that this last leg of this challenge is going so horribly is because I'm not as interested in many of the movies I have on the list, so I'm gonna get this one watched and let you know how I think of it, despite the fact that I'd rather be listening to something else in the lab right now. But priorities, guys. You start a movie challenge and it's serious. This is serious business. Serious business. I'm about to go grocery shopping, but I almost forgot to talk about Messiah of Evil. This is a movie that unbeknownst to me, is like totally my thing. And I kind of wish I didn't watch it mostly when I was in lab, because I wasn't able to give it like my full, undivided attention. I give it enough attention that I still decided that I fucking loved it. It's a very, very visually stimulating film that I wish that I was able to watch without any distraction. I want to point out that the zombies in this I really like, because this is a film that came out not too long after Night of the Living Dead, but I think it's really cool because it's a film that takes zombies in a different form, but is still obviously quite inspired by Night of the Living Dead. It's not as, standard issue as a modern zombie movie is, in the way that it kind of formulaically follows Night of the Living Dead. This movie is different in the way that it presents both its zombies and also the world and the people that we follow. The filmmaking here is just so beautiful, and I loved the use of colors. There's some really cool like set designs here that are like very artistic and weird, and also some cool colored lighting. All of those two things kind of remind me of Mario Bava's Blood and Black Lace. But yeah, absolutely love this film. I think it's incredible, and I really can't wait to give it another watch when I have more attention. In the lab today, I'm gonna watch The Innocents, which is a film that has been on my watch list for a while, and has also been recommended to me for a while because Salem watched this back in 2021 for Hooptober and has been recommending it to me ever since. It is, for the prompt, a film that was adapted from a novel, because this film is adapted from Turn of the Screw, which I didn't know this before I was making this year's Hooptober list. I wasn't familiar with anything that had to do with this movie. I think that if I had known that, I would have been a little bit more turned off by it, because I, like many, read Turn of the Screw in high school English class, and I hated it. That's not good, but also that was a long time ago, and I have, a new taste, and also I barely remember why I hated that book. I think I just hated English class. Because I know that this is a pretty well-loved film, and also I know that Salem loves it. I'm sure that it'll be better than the movie that I just watched.
I think The Innocents from 1961 is a really great horror film and a really great adaptation. I read Turn of the Screw in high school, and I don't really remember that much about it. I remember that I didn't like it, but I feel like had my English teacher showed us this movie, would have had a little bit more to grasp onto and a little bit more to care about in the story. The way that it chooses to present its main character, I think, adds a lot of the mystery and the concept of ambiguity and speculation that the story presents. It works really well with the way that this character is presented. She's kind of an untrustworthy narrator, but she's also presented as though no one could ever assume her of doing wrong. Really impressed with a lot about this. I unfortunately watched this on YouTube in like shitty quality. Like somebody has uploaded this movie. I'll link it in the description below. But there's infinite time to come back and rewatch things, and I definitely will be revisiting this because I do think this is a really great film, and I am very happy that I finally was able to watch this and can recommend it to more people because I do think this is great. Alright, last movie of the night is the fourth one. We are throwing on The Hands of Orlok from 1924. This is a silent film. That's the prompt for this. The reason I picked this one over others is because I've previously had this on another Hooptober list, and I hate to admit it, but this is actually the first silent film I've ever seen. I've always been a little bit intimidated by silent films. I don't really know why. I will report back on how I feel after having watched my first ever silent film, and hopefully I don't fall asleep. Alright, I'm about to go to bed because I'm very tired. But I really, really liked that. I don't know why I was scared to watch a silent film. This is a great movie and a probably good movie to start watching silent films with. It's very engaging. It's not very long. It has a very interesting direction that it takes. It kind of turns itself into a different thing, like halfway through the movie, which I'm not complaining about at all. And there's some fun little twists and turns. And ultimately I thought it was a very fun time. It's also very easy to keep track of it. I thought that I might get like lost, but no, it's very simple and also very interesting, and the music is great, and that's, you know, a good thing to say for a silent film. I'm gonna go to bed now, and I'll see you guys bright and early for the next movie in the speed run. Good morning. I have the heart to complete this challenge, and I think I'm gonna do it. So the movie I'm gonna watch this morning is Salem's Lot. Yes, that is the 3-hour-long miniseries from 1979. This is obviously my pick for directed by Tobe Hooper. So I was like, okay, great, I can pick anything. Let's go with something that's gonna challenge me a little bit. And yes, I'm kind of regretting that now, but I put this on my list to challenge myself, to give myself a 3-hour-long movie to watch. So yeah, I'm gonna sit down and watch this, and then hopefully when I finish this, I can hop into another movie because I need to be really on top of things. I have 2 more days. Three hours later and the credits are rolling on Salem's Lot. I really liked this. It's interesting because I've just spent yesterday and also previous days in this challenge watching movies that I didn't really like that were short enough that I should have had no problem watching them, but they just dragged. And this movie is so long, yet it didn't drag, and I was not concerned about the runtime once it started. I think this is a really good medium for a small town horror movie like this. It gives you really good time to become interested in these characters and understand the dynamics between them, which for something like this is really important because we're meant to trust and distrust certain people. I was not bored. I thought this was interesting. I thought that it was an easy watch, and I have really no complaints about this. With that big one out of the way, we are going to move on to the next movie, which is called Blacker Than the Night. This is directed by Carlos Enrique Taboada. I think that's how you pronounce that. And that was the prompt. The prompt was a film by a Mexican director.
I've never heard of this film, I've never heard of this director, but I'm interested to see. This kind of seems like it will be something up my alley. It's a, 70s horror movie, and I'm gonna watch this on Tubi. And this is a short one compared to what I just watched, so hopefully this goes down easy and I can make my way through my last few films I have on this list, guys. We are almost done, and I have 2 days. Almost done, and I have 2 days. Let's go. I got this in the bag.
I finally finished Blacker Than the Night, which I should have finished yesterday, but I unfortunately didn't. This film is about a woman named Ophelia who inherits a very large house, with the only stipulation being that she has to take care of some cat. And she very graciously allows all her little friends to come live with her. And these friends are the worst people that I have seen in a movie in a while. They are all very selfish mooches, disrespectful, ungrateful. I cannot stand the women in this movie. And Ophelia's not perfect either. I think that she needs to check some people, and she's very, nonchalant about the things that happen in this movie in terms of the way people treat her and the circumstances that she's in. I'm just kind of like, dude, do something. But yeah, she's kind of a bystander as the main character, which is weird. These other women, I really hate them, and they make this movie so insufferable. It is very hard to care about anything that happens in this movie when you're following a group of the most self-centered, annoying, disrespectful people ever. Frustrating watch, I will say. Can't say that I really enjoyed this. I kind of wanted it to be over, immediately.
Okay, we're now watching there's no the, I keep saying that. Reanimator from 1985. That's my cat allergy, ignore that. This is the final remaining zombie movie on the list of 6. There's only supposed to be 5, but I added another one, so there was 6. I have been wanting to watch this for a while, and now we're finally watching it. It's actually pretty short, so cool. I don't really have anything else to say. I just needed to preface the movie, because this is how I've been doing this video the whole time.
Okay, I feel like any chance that somebody gives me to talk about Altered States from 1980, I will. I'm gonna be like, Shannon, what the fuck does this movie have to do with Altered States? Literally nothing. These movies are not similar at all, except for the one thing that they're both about scientists who take their science a little bit too far. And I just really, that really appeals to me, and it scratches a little piece of my, scientist brain, I guess. And this is, perfectly that, and it's so much fun and so much 80s goofiness. What, you want to speak?
80s boobs. A lot of 80s boobs in this.
This is his first time watching a movie from the 80s. It's okay though.
It had me on the edge of my seat.
Okay, I think that's a positive review. Yeah, I really like this one. Honestly, probably one of my favorite movies that I watched for this challenge. Very fun movie, enjoyable time. Yeah, gotta love it. We're gonna watch another movie called Toombad, I think is how you pronounce this. This is an Indian movie. When I'm putting together my Hooptober list, I usually will fill up all the categories that are suggested, or all of the made prompts. Then I'll just fill in with random countries or decades that I need. In this year, I think I ended up with 3 or 4 country picks. After this, 3. Pretty unmonumentally, this is also my 1000th movie that I've ever logged on Letterboxd. I'm kind of happy about that, but also this movie was just kind of it felt like just a film that I watched, and not something that was more important or better, or I felt better about. This movie's cool. It has some really interesting ideas visually when it presents, and I think that I had a good time watching it. I clearly don't know the
for lack of better words, lore that I should for this, but otherwise liked it. Anything from you?
Don't be greedy.
That's the moral of the story, don't be greedy. Alright, I'm gonna hop right into Valerie and her Week of Wonders. This is a free country pick from Czechoslovakia. But the reason that I chose to watch this is because it's the very first film on the bottom of my watch list. I have tried to watch this film before. A couple of years ago I put this on and it got about 10 minutes in and then I either turned it off or I fell asleep. I can't remember which one, probably both. I decided at that point that wasn't the time for me to watch the movie. I wasn't not ready for it, but I was like, I'm not gonna enjoy this right now, so I'm gonna not watch this until later. I'm at a point now where I think I'm more open-minded and willing to take on a movie like this. However, this is the movie that I said is similar to Black Moon, which I really did not like, but I'm hoping this one will go down a little bit smoother and I will have something to say for it. But I'm gonna watch it now. I'm gonna get through it. It's very short, only 73 minutes. So I'm gonna watch this and hope that it doesn't make me mad or upset. I actually kind of enjoyed this, and I'm happy that I waited a couple of years to watch this for my initial attempt at viewing, because I think that I've come into this with a little bit more of an open mind and what film can represent, and that even if I don't like what is on the screen, I think that there's something here to be enjoying about this film. It also kind of helps that I watched Black Moon earlier for this challenge, which is similar in premise but not really in execution. Both of these films are about coming into womanhood, and for Valerie in particular, the value of youth. This is an interesting concept to explore, and I think this film does it quite well, much better than the former point. I think that both points are made in a really tangible way in this film, and it's also something that you can just watch and kind of enjoy the spectacle of it. It's very weird, it is really bizarre, but it's interesting, and it's pretty, and it makes me want to keep watching. It keeps me interested. That's all things that I cannot say about Black Moon. And I really don't like to come on and compare films directly to each other. There's something about a surrealist style that I can appreciate, and I don't want to be a hater. I understand why people won't like it, but I think there's something here to enjoy about it and something to respect and appreciate. So, thumbs up for Valerie and her Week of Wonders. Surprisingly. We are down to the final 2 remaining movies on my Hooptober list. What? Who cheered? So this is a Brazilian film called The Property, or Property. I'm just putting the in front of names. This is another free country pick, so the last free country pick that I have to do. I've seen a couple good Brazilian films, but I haven't seen any horror movies as far as I'm concerned. So I'm gonna watch this. Hopefully it is not too hard to get through, and then I have one last remaining film to watch later tonight after work. Yeah, I'm actually so shocked that I've been able to get this far. So let's get this rolling, and we'll be done with the Souptober list in no time. In the clip from earlier today, but it is Halloween. I'm getting ready for work, so that's why I'm dressed like this. But let me talk about Property before I go to work. I am not thrilled with this movie. I just feel like it is something that exists and has a concept that should work. And it's frustrating because there's a movie out there that executes this concept way better, and I hate to be that guy who's like, oh, if I wanted to watch this, I would just watch this. I think this concept, it's really about rich versus poor people and battle of the classes. But the film frames it as though the poor people are, in fact, wrong most of the time. But if you're picking up on what I'm putting down, this is just some other random film from a different country. It's very haphazardly done, in my opinion. One of the problems that I think that I have with this film is that none of these characters feel like people. They just feel like
places, if that makes any sense. Like, I understand where some of these people are coming from and what they're supposed to represent in terms of, like, the greater arc, like, but they never feel like real people. They're just that. And the same goes for person who's stuck in the car. She's the same way. I don't know anything about this woman. I don't really care about her. I don't feel bad for her. I don't know if you're really supposed to. This film does have some pretty interesting things going into its third act. I will say that that was way more interesting, and the way that this film ends up going was fun, and I liked it. But I don't think I liked the story, and I don't think that this delivered on any sort of commentary that it wanted to. And that's all. I'll see you guys later tonight. Happy Halloween!
Okay, the very last thing that I have to watch from this list is Vampire, I don't know, from 1932, and the prompt for this is a film from 1932, and this has already been on my radar and something that I've been wanting to watch, but I've been low-key a little bit intimidated by. It's a quick 78 minutes, just like Valerie was earlier today. Let's do it, guys. Let's finish this fucking challenge. Time to talk about Vampire. Still unsure, probably should look that up. I have some thoughts about this. I think that this is a film that is generally pretty revered as being both influential, stylized in the style of the film, and also, like, technically it was very, new at the time. Things like this hadn't been put to screen before. And that's awesome, and I think that it is a great function. It's ultimately a pretty decently well-rounded film. It's atmospheric, it is spooky, and it is just nice, but I don't really care about it. I have seen some people who've also reviewed the film saying the same thing. It just doesn't have the appeal that they thought that it would. I'm feeling conflicted, because on one hand, I think this has everything that should work for me on paper, but on another hand, it just isn't really all that interesting, and so I just am kind of like, well, alright, sure. I need to be, like, a little bit more real and human with this point of my review, and this point of the video, to be completely honest, and that's that when you're doing a movie challenge like this and watching 31 movies over the course of, 45 days, it is a challenge, and so I think that I've had to push myself, especially in these last 3 days, to watch some films that I wouldn't otherwise watch, and a number of films that I wouldn't otherwise watch. I'm saying this to say that I think watching this movie at the end of my challenge has made it worse off for me, as in I probably would have been more interested in this earlier on. I've spent the last 3 days watching 4 movies each every day. I watched like 11 movies in the last 3 days. That's crazy. It's not something I've ever done. I've never watched that many movies in like one time. Some of these movies were different and new and a little bit harder to digest. And that's kind of a reflection on Hooptober as a whole. So let me get to recap Shannon when she's going to talk about the end of this video.
Wow, if anyone really is watching until this point of the video, I am shocked, but also so grateful that you stuck around this long and actually watched me, ramble on for an hour. Making this video was not only the best push I needed to actually finish watching all of these 31 movies, but it also was a push I needed to make this video. I've been wanting to make videos for years and have sporadically in the past, but it really does just take sitting down and doing it, and I did it. So now you're watching this video, and I'm very grateful that you're here. This Hooptober challenge was really fun, and I watched some great films. My favorites being some of the classics like A Nightmare on Elm Street, Night of the Living Dead, and Reanimator, but also discovering some hidden favorites that I didn't know I would love, like Messiah of Evil and The Case of the Bloody Iris. There was also some solid stinkers in this list, I can't lie. But that's, you know, par for the course on this type of thing, so I can't be too mad. And overall, pushing myself to watch 31 horror movies in this amount of time is a feat that I'm honestly pretty proud of. Hopefully in the future you'll stick around to watch me watch other movies and maybe do some other things and talk about other things. In the meantime, follow me on Letterboxd. I'll have it linked down below, as well as some of my other social medias. Thank you very much for being here and for watching this. I am so grateful. See you next time.